Happy Saturday, happy day 136 of the year. How are you feeling this morning? Hopefully you woke up well rested and you're looking forward to the weekend. It is a cloudy, rainy start to the weekend here in Athens, but honestly it's kind of a nice change from these very bright and sunny days that we've been having lately. I'm solar powered, I love the sun, but I really enjoy a good cloudy day every once in a while. And I've actually really been enjoying just watching how having the grey sky completely changes the color palette and changes the energy of the city. So that's my invitation to you this morning, is just take an extra minute or two to notice your environment, notice the weather. Is the color of the sky perhaps different than it was yesterday? Is it making things look different? Is it making things feel different? Don't forget that you're part of the natural world, you're part of nature's cycle, the weather is part of the cycle, so just take a few extra moments to check in and just notice what's unfolding in your environment this morning. As I said, we're on day 136 of the year, and according to 365 Tao by Deng Tao, our word for today is judgment. And when I saw that word, I thought immediately of my Rider-Waite tarot card deck, because there's also a card in the deck called Judgement. So there's a little visual representation of what judgment looks like in that tarot deck. Obviously 365 Tao and the tarot are not connected in any way, but it's just interesting how things pop up. Once you start noticing something, for example the word judgment, I immediately thought of this card. So just pay extra attention to that as well today. That's another invitation for you. If you're thinking about something in one context and it shows up in another context, like completely unrelated, have a think about, is it really unrelated, or is everything in this life strangely connected in some way? Just something to think about this morning. So grab your books, grab your journal and something to write with. Find a nice quiet and comfy place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next 15 minutes or so while we read together. Be here and now and present. Take a nice deep breath in with a long exhale out, and let's start reading together on day 136 on the subject of judgment. The accused stands helpless before the judge. Pen is poised to determine right from wrong. In one arbitrary stroke, life is suddenly decided. Do judges have Tao? Dispassionate to the point of cruelty, making distinctions on the basis of arbitrary rules, can they be a part of a humanistic view of Tao? The answer depends on the context. That's a really important sentence to remember, not just for today, but for life in general. The context matters a lot. And as it says here, the answer to this question depends on the context. If you are speaking of the Tao of nature-loving hermits, sounds like me, the answer is no. No one has the right to pass judgment on another. If you are speaking of society, however, those who follow Tao accept the necessity of set rules. So have a moment to think about that, right? If you identify as someone who's nature loving and thinks, no, we shouldn't judge others, we should be free to live as we want, that's one context, and it's correct in that context. But if we're thinking about the context of a society, of a community, of a large group of human beings being together, then yeah, there needs to be some sort of a system, the legal system, the court system, and then ultimately judgments passed down, because otherwise it would be an anarchy, it would be a free-for-all. So in that context, judgment is actually a good thing. So have a think about that, the importance of context as it comes up, as it relates to everything in life. Let's continue. These laws are the Tao of society. Once you are in the world of people and away from the world of nature, you are immersed in dualistic distinctions. Then concepts such as righteousness and mercy have meaning. Judgment is the process of comparing ideas in order to find agreement or disagreement. Think about that balance. Yin and yang, agreement, disagreement. It's a judgment. The fact must be thoroughly examined. Judges must clearly and wisely apply distinctions. That which agrees is the truth. In the same way, we are all compelled to examine the ongoing circumstances of our lives. That is part of the responsibility of being human. Embracing Tao will not exempt you from the need to render judgments and make decisions. We are both the ultimate judge and the accused. Wow, there's another dualistic thing to think about. We are the judge, but we are also the accused. It's both. When your final day comes, you yourself must be the examiner. Did you do well, or did you squander your precious existence? Oof. You must decide. Wow. It's a great passage, and that last paragraph especially is very, very poignant. You know, when it comes to the end, you know, when it comes to our final days, it's kind of represented here on the judgment card. We have to judge ourselves. Did we do well, or did we squander our existence? That might be something interesting to think about. That could be something you could ponder in a meditation today. That could also be a great journaling prompt as well. You could just sit and ask yourself the question, am I doing well in my life, or am I kind of squandering my life? And what improvements can you make? What changes can you make to better your circumstances? Really great passage today. And I really like also this sentence here, the answer depends on the context. Context is a really, really, really important part of life. And as the example says here, in one context it can mean one thing, in another context it can be completely different. So that's another duality, another yin and yang, another balance of opposites to think about as you move through your day. So thank you so much for being here for 136 days, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Bye.